This is Rockin' with Jam Man is with Within the Ruins. What's up, man?
Hey, brother, how are you, man?
Congratulations on your last album, Black Heart.
Oh, thanks, dude. Appreciate it.
It was amazing, hard and brutal with great riffs. It gets me pumped up, you could say. Gets me a
Oh,
little.
yeah.
Gets me a little. Sometimes my cousin was over and I accidentally played the song, and then let's just say he got a blood. Let's just say his nose had ketchup.
Notice that catch up. Okay. All
Yeah.
right. Well, y'all just keep it safe, but I'm glad you enjoyed the album, though, man. I appreciate it.
On your press sheet, it says you are progressive deathcore.
I could see that. Yeah, sure. I could
How,
see that.
how did you get all the different names like deathcore, death metal, black metal, things like that?
Um, Probably, I'd have to say a lot of that would be Joe, our guitarist. He does a lot of the all the song structure and all the writing and everything. And he's just like a wizard when it comes to writing the actual music, and he we listen to a lot of stuff that's not just one type of metal, so we've got influences left and right, and he just sometimes he'll just throw in some stuff like out of nowhere and it just works. He just finds a way, and so it's really tough to kind of put like one label on the band, I would say. So that's probably why there's a bunch of subgenre categories you'll find us in. Joe's real good about that stuff.
The entire album was awesome, but my favorite tracks are Black Heart, Open Wounds, and The Devil in Me.
Ah,
Yeah.
those I think are probably my favorite ones as well. It's tough to choose.
It's
I get
tough.
that question sometimes, right? There, ask which one's your favorite, and I never have an easy time answering it. But those three always wind up in my response, though. Good
That,
calls.
that video was awesome for Black Heart.
Oh yeah, that was a fun one.
Yeah.
That was a, that the scenes where I'm like walking around the woods and at the river and stuff. That was at like midnight or 1 in the morning. It was just out there in the dark. It was a fun shoot though. That was a fun video.
What was it like doing videos during COVID?
Um, a little tough. Um, but we were able to pull it off. Pal and I were both always extra safe when it came to traveling and stuff, and um, we were able to get out there even with some restrictions going on. Um, and we were just constantly trying to be as safe and responsible as we could, even when we were out there, just so we didn't you know get anybody potentially sick. I mean, not that we work, but you want to limit interactions as much as possible. And I mean, it was really interesting, I guess you could say, but it was a bit of a challenge, but we tried to keep it short and sweet, and we knocked it all out in like a weekend, basically. So we didn't want to stretch it out and waste too much time while we were out there. But it was a bit of a challenge, but we were able to pull it off, though. Everyone knew what they were doing.
Did you really drink all those booze? Did you really drink all those booze?
I did actually, yeah. I wanted to. I mean, within the ruins, like you could say, is known for some beers and some stuff. And so if it looked fake in any way, I don't think anybody would buy it. So the beer that you see me drinking in the beginning was one at Joe's Brewery. That was a beer of his. And I wanted it to look real. And then there was actual Jameson. There's actual whiskey in that shot glass that he slid my way on the counter. Um, and I drank those like I did. We had to do a few takes, but I did them back to back. Um, Early in the morning. It was like 10 in the morning, I think. And so I was already like tired from the night before shooting the previous video, and we filmed that scene early in the morning. So when you see me looking kind of rough, it's because I was actually feeling kind of rough that morning. So I wanted it to look real, and I think we pulled it off.
Tell me about the album.
Oh, where to begin, man? So it's my first album with the band. I'm not the original singer. I took over for Tim about 3 years ago, and it's a very personal album for the band, and for myself. It's a lot of anger and just kind of like some dark times that I was going through before I joined the band. and I had a lot of it written already, and it was just stuff I had to get off my chest, and just a lot of personal stuff that you don't really get from other Within the Ruins albums. It was a really deep, dark, aggressive album on everybody's part, and once Joe found out where I was coming from lyrically, he kind of changed the way he was writing some of the songs, and so he made them more aggressive and more dark. And that's kind of how the whole vibe of the album ended up being the way that it was. And then it just turned into that. So all the songs are kind of connected for the most part, except for a couple. Um, Blackheart, Open Wounds, Devil in Me, like you said, those are all connected kind of in a way. They all stem from Blackheart. It's probably like the main track, and then everything else is related to it more or less. But it all kind of came from some just like tough times I was going through, man. And everything's all good now. But that album is just a big expression of what I had going on.
How have you guys grown as a band since your guys' start? How's that?
I mean, it's tough. I mean, like I said, I joined the band a few years ago, but me and our bassist Paolo, we were in a previous band together called Silence the Messenger, and we actually were friends with Within the Ruins since about 2009, around when their first record was coming out, or a little after. And I mean, so you see a big progression in like songwriting from that record to Blackheart. Blackheart even actually kind of touched back on old school writing styles for the band, mixed in with some new stuff. But as guys too, you know, I've kind of noticed. I mean, like little things. I mean, they're still the same dudes they've always been, but you know, people grow up, lives change, and um, I think overall the band's just gotten more professional and everything over the years, and with maintaining that still like fun time vibe, like everyone wants to hang out with the band still attitude, and uh, but over, I mean, just good dudes all around though, man. So I mean, it's just been interesting meeting them back in the day, and all of a sudden now I'm in the band. So that was an interesting change too, you could say.
Um, what was it like recording during COVID? What was it like?
We actually got most of the recording done before COVID. The only thing we actually really had to do for the album during COVID was the music videos, and we all it was all done in Joe's studio up in Massachusetts. Me and Paolo live here in Texas, um, but we did everything at Joe's studio in Massachusetts, and except for one song, um, Open Wounds, actually, we recorded here in San Antonio at our old drummer's studio. We just ran out of time up in Massachusetts, but we finished that song here in Texas, and I mean, it was pretty close to when the lockdown happened, but we lucked out pretty hard and got it all in before all that happened. And so once everything got shut down, we were kind of just waiting around for it to get mixed and mastered. So we got it in right at the buzzer. Actually, we kind of lucked out.
It had to be different dropping an album and not being able to tour. That had to be difficult.
Yeah, it's pretty rough. It was one of those, like, you know, we wrestled with it. Do we do we put it out during this? Do we wait? Um, Within the Ruins is already one of those bands that doesn't just put out album after album. There's, you know, usually at least a couple years in between albums, and in this case, it was closer to three. Um, and so we decided that we didn't want to wait any longer than that. After I joined the band, we put out a couple singles pretty quick, but then we did some touring, and we figured it was time to get to work on the record. So we kind of figured the people had waited long enough, you could say, and we just put it out. So you kind of hope for the best, and it was kind of split. You'd see a bunch of bands that were like, we're not going to wait, we're just going to put it out, and you'd see a bunch that would say, oh, we're going to wait. And we decided that it needed to come out. So we're, you know, everything's still great. People are still talking about it. You know, I don't think we've lost any momentum. So now that shows are getting announced, we will see what happens, I guess.
So you have been doing a video series talking about all these kinds of topics, all these kinds of topics, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Well, in the videos too, the thing was, like, after we were done and we figured out what videos we were gonna do, or for what the singles were gonna be. Joe came to me and was just like, "Hey, they're your songs. Just tell us, tell the label what you want to do for the videos." And I was like, "Oh, geez, okay." So right away, you just got this like extra stress of like, I thought we were all done and ready, and then Joe was like, "Well, figure out what you want to do for the music videos." And so I had to come up with the concepts, and everybody gave their input, but it was just another like last minute thing where Joe was just like, "You do it." And I was like, "Okay, all right." So I wanted to come up with concepts for the videos that were relatable, but um, not just following current like music video trends. I wanted them to actually be tied in with the lyrics and uh, show what I was actually trying to get across in the song itself. And so I think all three of the videos actually did a really good job of that. And then a big shout out to the guys at King Wolf Creative. They're the guys that shot the videos for us that weekend. I couldn't have done it without them. They came through really hard on a lot of the stuff that I wanted to get done, and everything turned out awesome. So shout out to those guys.
What made you come up with the idea?
Um, well, I mean, like I said, I wanted to really just kind of get the point across and not just make boring music videos. I wanted them to be as interesting as possible, but still kind of tell the story of what I was saying in the lyrics. And so I wanted those to be visually as connected to the viewer as the songs are when you're listening to them. So I want that same story to come across when you're seeing it and hearing it at the same time. So I didn't want to do some weird abstract stuff that didn't really make any sense or didn't follow what the songs were about. I wanted them to be related. So that's kind of where I was coming from on it.
Um, have you written any more music during the lockdown?
Um, I mean, I think, I've always got like ideas floating around in my head. So I'm always writing lyrics and stuff. I have a section in my notes section on my phone where I've got just lyrics that I'm always adding to. So if I come up with a cool idea or a cool line, I'll take a second and type it out. Um, and Joe's always got stuff that he's working on because his studio is right there, attached to his brewery, so he can walk into the studio at any moment and write stuff. So I mean, there have been some things that we've already started working on to kind of keep ourselves occupied. I mean, Blackheart's still relatively new, and we haven't even really gotten to start the touring cycle on it yet. But we are working on some other stuff that'll hopefully come to light maybe next year. Who knows? I mean, it's tough to say. We're kind of just getting our feet wet with what we're going to do for Blackheart. But there's always something going on behind the scenes, though. So for sure.
Now it was to waste your promoting this kind of music than it was back in the day.
Ooh, it's interesting because I mean, it's especially with the pandemic. I mean, everything is digital. I mean, so people aren't going out to CD stores, even if they were existing still. It was so much different. Like when I was first joining bands when I was in high school, I was going out to Hot Topic and local record stores and venues and like printing out flyers and like wasting my dad's computer ink on stuff and printing out demo CDs, just burning them over and over. And like it was the hustle where you went around everywhere and tried to promote your band and do all the grind and stuff. And now everything's digital. Everyone just posts flyers and stuff online, and then like on top of that, it's a pandemic, so everybody's on social media more than ever, and it's just a lot more. I think it's different because people that are in bands that are just now forming and trying to get themselves out there aren't going to do as much of that hustle, that hard work, and that was just kind of where like I just happened to come from a different time where you were putting in that time, that labor of driving around places and trying to promote yourself and handing out physical pieces of paper to people. There's just not a whole lot of that anymore. And I mean, it's just really different, and that's not necessarily to say that it's a bad thing, but I think you lose a little bit of um, that drive when you can just post stuff on Facebook and Instagram instead of like printing something out and burning CDs and handing them out to people face to face, that kind of thing. I think it loses a little bit of the intimacy and the hard work. And it's not that people aren't working hard these days. If anything, you might have to work a little bit harder because of the internet. It's all oversaturated and whatnot. But it's definitely a lot different, man. It's a lot different than it used to be for sure. But you got to adapt. You got to go with what's popular.
What I mean is, in this harder stuff was only known by a few of the weird kids in school back in the day. Now there are radio stations that only play hard stuff, websites devoted to it, Spotify, Pandora, channels. It's pumped through gyms and played in movies and video games.
Say it again. What was the last part?
Uh, Pumped through gyms and played in movies and video games.
Um, if I'm understanding your question correctly, it's I mean it's a lot different than and correct me if I am getting it wrong. Um, I want to say it's just so much different because it's like you coming out of a different era of not a whole lot of stuff is played on like radio stations anymore. It's all digital. It's all like you said. It's Pandora. It's Spotify. It's Apple Music. All of those things. So, I mean, if you were to get your stuff into movies and video games and gyms, it's I mean that's a big achievement, and I mean, props to anybody from our scene that has crossed that barrier into like total mainstream stuff. I mean, that takes a lot of time and effort to be on that level, and but some bands that are in our genre have pulled it off, and props to them. uh it's something to strive for. It's always weird because people like get the classic, oh, they sold out because they're on a video game or what have you now, and it's like, why are you, I don't know, I never understood the why people hate on other bands that are doing well. Like, I mean, what's the point if you want to just stay a small band? You work hard because you want to get somewhere with it, and so if we wound up on a video game or something, I'd be pumped. And uh, I don't know. I think I'm all for it. I guess if anything, like go, push your band, work hard, get where you want to get to, and be happy about it. Be proud. I mean, I don't see there's no point in hating on it. We should be supporting each other. Support all the bands, all of them. Props to all the bands.
How has the scene evolved from when you were kids?
Ooh, so much. I mean, I didn't really start seeing what the scene was like until I was in high school, but I mean, I was going to shows when I was in high school a lot, and I mean, you see a lot of the music trends have changed. I mean, like, uh, well, I mean, different variation. Like, there's more subgenres now than there used to be. Everyone's haircut is different. I think a lot of people have kind of cleaned up and not done um, this scene emo thing is not as popular as it was. And so I mean, you see like everyone's outfits and looks have changed over the years. The music styles have changed. um I don't know, I feel like back then it used to be, I mean, even as far just as like 10 years ago maybe, it was um more clicky and like divided, especially during the MySpace era, I think. And I feel like now it's a lot more acceptable to like multiple genres of music at the same time. Like I love, like death metal and stuff, and but at the same time, I love like pop punk. I grew up watching MTV, so I love bands like Blink 182 and Green Day. And so I could listen to a super heavy death metal song and then switch over to a Blink 182 song and not even matters. And like I think it's been more accepting these days for people to kind of like all kinds of genres and stuff. So I think that's one of the changes that I've liked the most, is seeing it be less clicky and be more like, hey, people just like what they like, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's you're artists, you're going to have all kinds of experiences and influences, so let it out there.
I think metal and rock have been under attack. Don't you see this generation and the media playing it's all geared towards pop and rap? Not a lot of people going for rock and metal.
Yeah, I can see that. I see that a lot. I mean, hip hop and rap and pop, all kinds of pop music. I mean, they've definitely taken over, and I mean, it's easy to see why. I mean, I guess they're palatable, but at the same time, I mean, um, you got tons of artists like trying new stuff and crossing boundaries and stuff. Like I think actually one of hard rock and heavy metal's biggest allies could be Post Malone. I mean, he actually is super big into hard rock, and I mean, on his latest album, he has a song with Ozzy Osbourne, and he's very vocal about liking hard rock bands and stuff. And uh, more and more hip hop artists are picking up on scene like visual trends and that kind of thing. So there's some genre blending going on, I think. But um, I don't know. I mean, I feel like metal's always had it rough because it's the tough guy metal, doesn't fit into society kind of vibe, and people have always kind of seen metal as like the outcast, the black sheep of the music music world. And I think it's always kind of gone under attack in some way or form. But I don't know. But in some ways, I think it's also metal's doing just as well as it's always been. I mean, there are still huge bands selling out stadiums, and bands like Bring Me the Horizon and Architects are playing to thousands of people and stuff. And they came out of the scene days and stuff too. So I mean, to see metal still being successful is awesome. So I mean, yeah, I think you gotta just ride the wave.
And now cancel culture is going after our icons like my boy Marilyn Manson, and now one of the nicest guys in the industry, my friend David Elson. It's not cool the way society just tries to get rid of the guys. What are your thoughts on all of this? What are your thoughts on all of
Cancel culture is rough, man. I mean, and don't get me wrong, I'm with you. I grew up listening to a lot of new metal, and Marilyn Manson was one of my favorite ones. He was always that black sheep outcast, but edgy and uh, but he was also really articulate and really smart. And so if you sat down and watched his interviews, you're like, oh, he's not just some like shock artist. He actually knows what he's talking about. Um, but I mean, then stuff happens, and I think it's part of a big wave of like social media and cameras on your phones and stuff. It's a lot easier to document stuff that goes on. And um, I mean, it's tough because you do want to hold people accountable, and I think that's obviously very important. But I think it's a big gray area of where do you draw the line of like, well, they did something 10 years ago, and they were young and dumb then. That's not who that person is anymore. And I think without providing people the opportunity to grow and change and learn from their mistakes is also um, you know a bad move. I think it's people need to be held accountable, especially if it's stuff that happens currently. But there's also people that want their 15 minutes of fame and want to just slam whoever, even if the accusations aren't true. It's tough, and I'm not saying anything one way or the other. Really, it's a tough line to walk, man. Um, I think the biggest thing is just if somebody's out of line, you got to hold them accountable. But I think people are doing a whole lot of overreaching and trying to cancel people from stuff they did a long time ago. And it's just tough, man, because it's all of this has been happening a lot lately. And you never know who's gonna get hit. I mean, but if anything, it's so tough, man. I feel you. It's like, because then you never know, one of your favorite artists might get attacked with something for something they did a long time ago. And that's not to defend anybody for anything. It's just kind of the reality of the situation lately, and it's a bummer. But at the same time, if that's what's going on, that's what's going on. So gotta just gotta be on our toes, man. Just like I said, hold people accountable. But it sucks.
it? Have played any shows since the lockdown? Played any shows since the lockdown?
No, no shows. We did that. Well, we did a live stream. We did a live stream performance. So that was fun. that was kind of a new experience. I think a lot of bands are going to hold on to doing those. It's kind of a fun way for a band to be able to play a show and uh, still give their fans something, even if they can't be on the road. Do like a one-time thing, like an online performance. So we did that. But right now we're kind of just putting out our feelers and seeing what the rest of the year is going to look like, or the beginning of next year. So uh, just the one live stream, but hopefully sooner than later. We need to get back out there. I'm itching.
How was it finally getting back on stage?
It was a little nerve wracking. You get a little rusty not playing with your guys for a little while, but it was also really exciting, really fun. Kind of gave that feeling that you're always wanting when you're not on the road. You kind of get a little taste of that being with the guys again. I mean, it was a lot of fun. I mean, got to shake off some cobwebs, but it was fun though, and it was just a shame that it was just for the one set, but gotta just keep hanging in there. It was nice to have a little taste though.
Any any plans to do any shows throughout the rest of the year?
Um, I don't have anything set in stone yet, but we are looking into some stuff, maybe for fall or winter. Um, nothing for sure yet that I can talk about, but it's possible. I'll say it's possible. If not, then for sure early next year, definitely. But we're trying to feel it out because every band is like trying to hop on shows and tours and stuff right now. So it's kind of like a a dogfight out there trying to see who's going to get what.
It has to be a nightmare routing a tour. It definitely has to be a nightmare.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, luckily the band is in a good place where we have a good team behind us, and we just have a record come out, and so I mean we're ready to go. So the name gets tossed around all kinds of emails and stuff to uh, see what we can do. But like I said, we just gotta be patient, man. I wanna get out there just as bad. I even miss just going to shows, just hanging out, and being in that live music environment, man. I miss it a lot. Um, but we'll see. Yeah, it's tough. The waiting is tough. I'll for sure.
Have you noticed that a lot of venues you used to play closed down during the lockdown?
Oh yeah, for sure. And it's tough too, man, because I mean you always have memories playing at those places, and um, it's tough because it's just such a such a big part of what you do. When you're in a band, like part of the traveling is those venues, and that's where you spend a lot of your time when you're there. Is that specific venues like for the day, and seeing a lot of them shut down was just like a really big shame. And I'd argue that the music industry has gotten the the bad end of the stick, and not getting as much financial help and and love that they need. I mean, I've seen people do Kickstarters and stuff to help save venues, but not every venue is able to make it through. And some of them might get brought back, some might not. Who knows? It's tough to say, but it's been a real shame, man. It's not anything you can predict, but it's sad to see certain places go.
What is your favorite memory from playing the show?
Mm. I mean, it's tough, man. There's so many cool ones. Um, one that I'll always cherish, I think, was when I first was filling in for the band before I was officially in. I was filling in on a headliner that they were doing, and there was a show we played in Minnesota where I was still just filling in, and I even was, I would let the crowd know, like, hey, Tim had to go home sick. I'm just filling in. If you know the words, let me know, or come sing along, whatever. And then like in the middle of the set, they were just the whole. It was like probably like 350 people or so. They were just chanting my name. They were saying Steve, 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 and I was like, man, I'm not even part of the band, and you guys are showing like a ton of love. And I thought that was always like that was a really cool moment where I wasn't even officially in the band yet, and they were super supportive just me doing the thing. And I think that's probably one of my favorites, at least so far. But
What is your worst? What is your worst?
worse. Um, it's part of the growing, I think. But there's when you're first starting out playing shows in other cities and doing tours that aren't obviously are not big tours, but our old band, as every band has done, we played to a room of literally like I think 3 people. Uh, it's tough. It's so awkward. It was basically like um, the bartender and like one person in the crowd. I think. I mean, it was the other band wasn't even there. There was nobody there. I mean, we were just by ourselves, and we basically played for beer that night. But I mean, it's funny to look back and tell the story now, but when you're in that moment, it is so awkward playing for small amount of people. It sounds backwards, but I mean, you kind of look at it as like a practice session. I mean, I'm much more comfortable in front of a few hundred people or 1,000 people versus like 10. So I know those are rough. You're getting me all weirded out thinking about it, man. Those nights are something else.
What is next for you?
Um, I don't know, man. I'm hoping we get some shows lined up and we can get back to doing the thing. I don't like I said, I don't have anything set in stone yet, but that's what I'm hoping for though is shows to come back, and I think that's really the next step is hopping on some tours and getting back out on the road. Yeah, I'm hoping sooner than later, but man, I need some shows, man. I need some music in my life. I need some live vibes. That's what I'm hoping for.
Bro, I need the music, bro.
That's what I'm saying, man. The music, bro.
The music, bro.
The music. I need it.
The music.
The music. Ah!
Yeah. Okay.
Ah! I need it.
Okay. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
I feel it, man. I need it. It's all pent up. It's all pent up. I need it.
Oh my god. Oof. Okay, it's good. It's good.
Got it? All right.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah,
How
man.
did my followers start following you?
Oh, you can find me. My name is Steve the Mess everywhere. Instagram, Twitter. It's all Steve the Mess, and you can find the band. Facebook, obviously, with Twitter is at Within the Ruins. Instagram is Within the Ruins official. We're posting on the socials almost every day, keeping in contact with everybody and stuff. So, hit us up, man. Shoot us a message, tag us, let us know you're jamming the album, all of it, man. We pay attention to the social media, so hit us up.
All right, sure. I seen you guys do cool things like play video games and stuff like that.
Yeah.
At Plan Your Last Meals.
Oh yeah. We had some just interesting interview questions, and the last meal. I mean, I love food, man. So food for me was like a really fun, interesting question of what would I want my last meal to be, and I love burgers, man. Burgers is my.
Oh yeah, I just want a double burger, man.
I need the double, man. Give me the meat, the cheesy, the bacon. And I love spice, man. Spice that thing up, dude. I love burgers. Stuff like that. It's I don't know. I like interesting, fun, random questions like that too. Just ask me random stuff. I'll answer whatever you want.
What's your system for like your video games? What's your system?
I'm gonna probably catch some heat for this, but I have a PlayStation 4 currently. I had an Xbox and a 360 back in the day, and then I eventually made the switch to PlayStation. Most of my friends have actually moved on to PC gaming, but I don't see myself doing that anytime soon. But currently, it's PS4.
I moved from the Xbox, and I literally played Xbox 360 when I was a child.
Yes.
I moved to PlayStation 5.
Oh, you got PS5? See, you got me one up, man. You got me out here looking like a bum. Thanks a lot, man.
No, but well, it's actually you can actually upgrade the games like a PS5 upgrade.
Mhm.
So yeah, on your game sometimes. Yeah,
Right on.
hit me up, rocking with Jam Man.
Hell yeah.
Even though it's like my social name, it's still on my PlayStation name.
Jam man. Love it, dude.
And they can also get your album and your merch there on your website, correct?
Yeah, man. The album, go to within the ruins hyphen blackheart.com. And then we're we're dropping some new spring summer merch right now at withintheruins.com. I'm thinking about picking some of that up myself, man. The new merch designs are looking awesome. Uh, all of that is available. We post about it all the time. The link is in our bio. Withintheruins.com, within the ruins hyphen blackheart.com. It's all you can find the album everywhere. All the merch is there. Hit that up.
I do unboxings. If you want to hook a brother up, I control the cool swag. Well, let's say I'm a show player. And I'll tell them to check you guys out on your album and stuff like that. Okay,
Cool, man. Sounds good, brother. Yeah.
thanks. Well, thank you for being on the show, man. The next time we talk is at backstage at one of your shows.
Jam man, you let me know, Jam man. We'll get you out to the show, yeah?
All right, thank you, man. Oh, by the way, I'm in New York, Buffalo, so play at the Rapids.
Okay, yeah. The band's from Massachusetts. We play New York all the time.
Oh, really? So yeah, that's good. All right, I'll see you guys in a minute. We'll see you guys soon. All right.
Cool, man. Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers,
Yep.
Mike. Peace.